Hi, my name is Ness, and I'm a senior at the University of Houston, and I'm double majoring in English Literature and Psychology. And today I will be interviewing Audrey Brewer. Audrey is the marketing manager at WEIMA America Incorporated, and she's also a member of AWFS, which stands for the Association of Woodworking and Furnishing Suppliers. They're currently the largest national trade association in the United States, which represents the interests of the board in an array of companies, which supplies the home and commercial furnishing industry. Hi, Audrey. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Good.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in and ask you if you could describe what your typical workday looks like at WEIMA and what your first few years in the career were like.
Sure. Yeah. I'm currently the marketing manager, but I'm really the whole marketing department. Like it's me, just me. When I started at WEIMA, I was the marketing assistant. So my job's grown quite a bit, and we can talk about that a little bit probably. But my day to day now, every job has things you do every day and then things you sprinkle in as needed. I work a traditional 7:30 to 4:30. I do a lot of graphic design, obviously, and writing and PR, press releases, case studies. I do a lot of market research, so I'm constantly trying to keep up with the news of the industry, that kind of thing. And then, of course, just the administrative invoicing, budgeting, planning, brainstorming, and then all of the trade show prep. That's
Right.
all me.
Well, that seems like quite a handful.
Yeah, it's full, but it keeps you busy.
So I guess then before you started, were there any sort of part-time jobs or internships or apprenticeships that you had to pursue to prepare you for this occupation?
I kind of fell into marketing, but it was a surprise that I landed here, but when I look back, everything makes sense. In college, I worked as a database administrator for a financial planning firm. Great experience. Has nothing to do with what I'm doing now, except that it taught me how to communicate with clients and prospects. And so it was my job to learn those things and to teach them how to do those things. And essentially, I'm doing the same thing now. It's a different software, but I'm learning how to find people to talk to about what we do and how to engage with them on an ongoing basis. So that's been important. I also did a study abroad in Germany, and WEIMA is a German company, and the fact that I'm fluent now in German significantly helps, but I don't use it as much as you would think. So
Well, I would imagine it's still pretty beneficial in your line of work.
you're right. Yeah.
Well, then you mentioned college and some of the things that were helpful for you in there. Were there any specific courses that you wish you had taken either in college or in high school, or any that you did take which really helped you with this occupation?
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the ones that really helped me. I wasn't an international business major. In retrospect, I probably should have been, but I was an international studies major. So we didn't actually have to take international business classes, but one class I took that was really beneficial for what I'm doing is it was called Geography of the Global Economy. But essentially, it was just showing how the world works together economically. And that was right when globalism and globalization and all these words started coming into our vocabulary. So it was a really enlightening class. I had a great professor too, which helped. But in retrospect, I also wish I had taken perhaps like an intro to CAD kind of, even just like a crash course or just like a weekend session or something. I think that would have been really useful. It would still be really useful actually, and it's not ruled out. But and also definitely take language courses. Pick any language and pursue it. Even if it's English, like pursue it, because I write all day, every day, and being able to communicate effectively is my whole job. And communicating via words or pictures or whatever, I have to be able to do it in order to be successful. So yeah, pick a language: German, Italian, Mandarin. Those are the three that I would suggest for our industry.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Actually, could you clarify what CAD or CAD stands for, by the way?
CAD is the program that engineers use in order to lay out machines, in order to send schematics to each other so that it's consistent. That's kind of the go-to. Like you hear about Photoshop for design, CAD is like the engineering software that we use and that most engineers, I would say, use. So it's just a way to make sure we're sending files back and forth and everything's in scale. And it's a really neat program. It's really neat.
See, that sounds a lot more simplified for an English major like myself. When you said CAD, I immediately started panicking. I was like, is this something I should know?
I didn't before I started either. I forget that this is good that you asked, because I forget that people aren't like born knowing what CAD is, and that I also wasn't born. So.
Oh, it's okay. I'm the same way with like Poe and Dickens and whatnot. I just assume people will know their autobiography the way I do.
I can throw some Bukowski at you anytime. So.
Okay, so you're also a part of AWFS, and did you get into that organization through your job, or was it something else that led you there?
So I actually, when I started working at WEIMA, I had no manufacturing experience whatsoever. Like the fact that I landed in a manufacturing setting is, I joke about it now because I never could have seen this coming. And so AWFS is something that I was introduced to after I joined WEIMA, because WEIMA has been very, very active in AWFS way before I was involved. And then when I took over as the marketing manager, it was important that we maintain that relationship. So I got to know them pretty well, and we worked together quite regularly, recycling initiatives and that kind of thing.
Right, so I guess outside of that, what other benefits did you see of being a member of AWFS?
The networking has been amazing, not just for me as a person, not like I'm going to networking events so much as having access to other members who, anyone that's a member of AWFS probably has some sort of manufacturing waste. If they're a manufacturer, they're going to have some kind of manufacturing scrap. And what we do is we take that scrap and find a way to recycle it or reuse it or divert it from a landfill. And so finding companies that need our products is really, really important. And finding companies, it's easier to find them in one central location, like an organization like AWFS or an association like that, than just typing into Google, companies who need shredders. Like they don't know they need shredders until we talk to them. So it's been really good, and the leadership of AWFS has been awesome. And since they put on a trade show every year, they're also like, perks for being a member. You get discounted booth, that kind of thing. So they take good care of us. Yeah, they do. They take good care of us.
All right. So it seems like you do a lot in your department, and you work really well with AWFS as well. So was there anything, I guess, that surprised you about this career?
Well, my whole career surprised me, but I think a lot of people say that. It surprised me that manufacturing is such a creative field because, see, your eyeball went like, what? I would never, I've been thinking about this for a few days because she sent me these questions in advance, and I was like, you know what? I never really thought about it this way, but engineering and design and innovation and forward thinking and planning and everything from, designing features on a machine to where the machine's going to go in the plant to what machines are going to be connected to it in order to make this huge process. And it's all very forward thinking and out of the box. Like almost every operation is different. I've never seen lines that look the same of different machines because they all have different needs. So they need different machines. And being able to problem solve in that way is a creative thing as much as a, strategic and scientific thing. And then of course I'm over here being super creative, and I'm like the creative corner of the office with I've got like all the markers and everything. But I'm over there doing graphic design. I'm writing stories about machines, which sounds really boring, right? But my job is to tell the machine story. Like, why is it important for the world? And that gives me a lot of like satisfaction in my job, I think, is being able to communicate that. Mm-hmm. And then anything from any graphic design, any brochures, any banners, any trade show stuff like that you see hanging, like anything in the office that looks pretty, like that's me. Any business card that needs designed, or our Christmas letter, or anything. That all comes to me. So the creative fun projects, I always get those, which is really nice. And I wouldn't have necessarily thought that someone creative would be useful in a manufacturing setting. But I think you almost have to be creative to be in a manufacturing setting, which is something that I found surprising. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Well, if there's one thing I've learned from doing these interviews, it's that a lot of people find that their jobs are either like a lot more flexible or a lot more, I guess, open to new opportunities than they previously anticipated. So it's great to see that you feel so gratified in your line of work.
Yeah.
Do you? Oh, no, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's been a really fun surprise, like kind of watching it unfold.
I hope I feel the same way about my career once I graduate.
I'm sure you will.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add or anything you'd like to say to someone who might be considering your occupation?
I would say my advice to any student that's still in the process of figuring out what they want to do, or someone who's just graduated, is to ask questions, because this is the time where I wish I'd asked more questions. Ask questions of the people around you about what they do. Ask questions when you get into your career, when you go to associations, when you go to trade shows. Ask questions, because that's where you learn. And you have this excuse: I'm a student, I'm trying to learn, I'm not an expert yet, I really want to learn, and people really want to teach you about what they do, and they want to show you their machine, and they want to show you how it benefits the world or the company they're working with or whatever, and I think people are scared to be inquisitive because they don't want to look dumb. But in reality, like, that was me too, but in reality, I ask probably 10 dumb questions a day, but I also can't market a product unless I know what it is and what it does and why it's useful and why it's valuable and how it helps the world. And so asking questions is like super important. And I would say that's true in any field, but definitely in marketing. So that's my advice. I would say ask questions, and don't be stuck in that I might look dumb space. Just go for it. And people really appreciate it when you can ask thoughtful questions.
Well, that's actually very valuable advice, I think, and I hope that it helps someone along the way. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time out to speak to me today and for sharing your experience with me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. This has been fun, and I appreciate you guys calling me. This was great.
Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.